Hello, my name is Jacob Weinrich, and I am a student at Ranken Technical College. I'm in my third semester, and this is my final project. We are building a issue tracker that does CRUD operations with databases and using front end and back end integrations. My portfolio is linked on the screen. Why did I choose this project? I took on this project because it was a great way to demonstrate programming skills and something I could put on my resume. It allowed me to work with lots of different interfaces and like APIs. For example, I use MongoDB for storing my bugs and user information. I use React.js for my front-end interface, Node.js to run the backend server, Express to handle the HTTP request from the front end. Bootstrap, I use that just on React to help style some of the buttons and transitions, and also mobile responsive. gcloud is what I use to post it to a live site. Um, Next up, what I learned is I learned a lot on how to use MongoDB's aggregation pipelines for CRUD operations. Searching for different documents on MongoDB was a big thing I had to learn. I also used bcrypt, a npm dependency that allows me to encrypt the password. So when I store it on the database, it does not show the actual password. I use JSON Web Tokens to send a authorization cookie to the front end for keeping the user logged in while they do operations. Um, Express.js just handled all the backend requests from the front. Axios is what I used with React.js to send the request to Express. Um, what would I do differently? What I would do differently on this project, and I plan on working on this in the future, is changing the just overall look of it. I want to do some fancy coloring stuff, so I'm going to have a light and dark mode that I would like to do. Um, Eventually, I'd like to make this so it's something that's easy to implement, like the login system. I would like to be able to implement on a website very easily, kind of as a template, sort of. Um, so doing that, I'd like to have an interface for changing the colors and saving them. Um, Also, I just probably want to get away from the bootstrap because it gives it kind of a very similar look to things. Um, so possible for like buttons and stuff, I want to add some different styles and all that. Um, this is one of the pictures of the front end site. This is the login page. The login page has a email and password input and a login button that submits the request. And if you look on the right side, there's three messages that could be displayed depending on if the password and email are correct. It'll give you the first one, login successful. If there is a invalid input, so that means um, there's you didn't put in enough, you put in an invalid character, or the email isn't a valid email for some reason, like you didn't put .com on it or something. And invalid credentials would show if you did have the right type of inputs, but they didn't match any user in the database. So like invalid password. Um, the login backend code. This is some examples of the code that I used. The first thing on there is on the right. The first picture is a joy schema. Joy is used for validating the form data from the front end. Um, you can see that it accepts a email and a password that are both required, and the password requires a minimum of 8 characters and a max of 50. They're both strings. Second picture is uh, part of how the database is set up for the login. You'll see it connects to the database with my da- da- uh, database middleware that I have set up. It searches through the user's database on Mongo for a user with the email that was specified by the user. And if no user is found, it returns null. If it does return null, it sends back to the front end that invalid credentials. If it does find the email but the password is not matching, how I would how it says invalid credentials also, and if the password does match, it'll say login successful. Um, the third picture is actually how I decrypt the compare the password that was supplied by the user trying to log in and the what was stored in the database when the account was created. That allows the backend to have the encrypted password without giving it to the user. The register user page has 6 different inputs and then a register button. All the inputs have to be valid for it to submit. It won't let you register the user, or it won't even send it to the backend unless those are all filled out. Um, the backend does still verify that all the information was correct. It'll give you 3 different errors. If it has a duplicate email, it won't to another user that's already in the database. It won't let you create it. If there is a issue with an input not being correct, or uh, it failed to connect to the backend, it'll register account failed. And if it was successful, it gives you the successful message. On register, it also logs you in with a auth token, the same as login would. This is the register front end code. You can see the first picture is how I have my input set up. There are type for the password box. It's a type of password, so it blocks it out in little dots. Um, the class name is the classes, so they're depending on if the value a password is valid. Okay, it will give you a different border around the text box. Um, every time you change the value, it's going to update the value variable. Also, it'll run a on password change function that uh, allows for um, the password change. It basically verifies that the password's correct as you're typing. And then the second one is the code that runs on the submit button. It sends all the updated information. If the password is not actually, if one of those values is missing, it gives you an error. You can see at the bottom there's a response codes that could be sent if it was not successful, and then it displays the message accordingly. This is my database UML. First up, we have users in the bottom left. Each user has ID, created on, email, password, full name, given name, family name, and roles and last updated. Um, the roles array is just stores the names of the roles that are in the app. Each role has a array of a object of permissions with a name and a true or false value. That value will I will show you next on what the permissions do. Whenever you try doing a operation, it verifies the user has that permission. The edits get every time someone makes an edit, there is a log of it pushed to the database. Also, each bug has a bunch of different values that it could have. So you have your title, description, steps to reproduce. You have all your classifications of the bug. When it was created on, is the bug open or closed? Has it been fixed yet? Test cases, who created the bug, stuff like that. Um, these are the user permissions. So each route has its own permission that's required. Some of them don't need a route permission, and some of them just require you to be logged in, or maybe not logged in. It depending on which route. Up next, we have our live app demo. Stay tuned. Hello, and welcome back to the second part of the presentation. This is the live version of the website. This is deployed to G-Cloud. So first up, we have our homepage, just some information. First thing we need to do is we need to log into the app. I already have the values pre-put in just for the sake of testing. If you hit login, we get our login successful message. You can also see that we have a authorization token sent to the user. First thing we can do is we can look at the list of bugs. These are some template bugs that I was just messing around with. Each bug you can show more, which will give you all the information and show you the comments. On this page, you can toggle if it's closed or open. If you can also edit the bug from here by the title, description, steps to reproduce. If you go to list, you can also go back to the list. You can edit there from here too. You can classify the type of bug. Show you that real quick. You can select switch one, and it's whenever you load this page, whatever value it was, it sets it into this box. For assigning a user, assuming the users have permission for all these, it'll let them do it. You can search for a user. If you just hit search right now, it'll give you all of them. Say we want to set the assigned user to Dawson. We select this one. You hit assign, and it updates. We can go back real quick. Because viewing the list of bugs is required to be logged in and have permission. If you log out, it does redirect you to the logout page and tells you must be logged in. Users without permissions will also be directed back to the home page. If we go right back, we can also search for different things. So if we just want all the closed bugs, there is none right now. But if we search opened, we can do that. We can up the page size. There's not enough pages, but you can search. Like if we want to search for Billy, we should just give this one. There we go. You can clear the searches. You can invert the sort by. So if we want to sort by title, but then we want to invert the title, it should give us the original one. Next up, we have our bugs reporting. So we can create new bugs. If you type some different data here, it'll let you report it. And if we go, there's a countdown to make sure you can't spam it. If you go back, we should have our first one that shows up. If we make this a little bit bigger, there we go. It's right here. By default, it displays 5 bugs at a time. We had 6, so I upped the page size. Next up, we have our users list. So each user is displayed that's in the database. Max of 5 on the page. You can switch pages if you wish, or you can just make it bigger. You can search by your minimum age and max age of when it was created. 2 days should give me these two. You can also clear it. You can search by keywords, roles. So if you type technical manager, it'll search that. You can sort by different things. You can invert the sort. Also, we have our edit for the users. You can, if you type something in this password box, it'll update the password. You can change the given name, family name, and the full name. Then you can submit. emails cannot be changed. Uh, Only users with the correct permission can actually edit other users. If you are not having, if you don't have the permission to change other users, but you want to change yourself, you can click over on this little icon here where the person is, your profile, and it should bring up your information for your profile. You've got your roles, you got your name and your email. You can edit the profile and you can change the name. So if we want to change it, just add an S on there. We can update it, and you notice it changed. Um, you can cancel that after that, and then you can change the password. If you change the password, it'll actually update it and encrypt it back on the database. Um, Cancel that. Next up, we can show you the register a account. So if we log out and we go to register here, I have some pre-made values for us just for sake of testing. If one of these values is missing, it will not let you register account. Um, so if we refresh that real quick, we can hit register. Should give us duplicate email because there's already someone in there. If we just add some numbers, we can get an actual account. Um, Notice we did log in, so test all that. Uh, if we log out again and log back in, notice we have a little chat box down here. And this is my feature that I added just for some extra functionality. So notice if we are logged in as an admin. If we open another tab here, okay, and we log out on this tab, we are just a user. If we type hello, okay, and we hit send, notice the admin got an anonymous person because they're not logged in saying hello. If whatever user you're logged into and you type into something and send it, the other person will see the person that's logged in's name. Anonymous shows up if they're not logged in. This is just a live chat help thing. Alrighty, and also got my footer. And then the page is mobile responsive. So, oops, screwed it up here. Notice you got your drop down here. And you can go to all your pages and all that. Thank you.